Hey, how's everybody doing today? Jesse Moon coming to you from San Antonio, Texas. I just want to thank each and every one of you for taking the time to come and get free financial knowledge about what is about to happen here in the great U.S. of A, United States of America, my friends. A little bit about myself: 16 years military veteran right after high school. Uh, we did the shock and awe into Iraq. I went to the recruiting center the very next day. That was March 13th of 2003, March 14th of 2003. I went to the Army Recruiting Center. I said, send me to war. 2 weeks later, I was in basic training. Fast forward 16 years, here I am today. It's my purpose to see people become successful, to help educate the masses on financial literacy, my friends. And the reason why is they do not teach economic theory in school. Therefore, it's no fault of your own. If you're watching this right now and you're struggling, you're living paycheck to paycheck, it's no fault of your own that you are hurting. However, once equipped with the knowledge, it will be all your fault if you continue to live below the means, if you continue to stay stagnant in the process of earning, my friends. Because with the education, with the knowledge that I'm about to give you, you're going to be able to implement it immediately to see a drastic change in your financial future, my friends. So I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in. Hope you have your pen and paper available. That way you can take notes. I am recording this, so I want each and every one of you to know that if you want it, make sure you contact me on Facebook at Grow Your Money Muscle. At Grow Your Money Muscle, you can go ahead and give me a call, shoot me a text message at 210-816-1632, or shoot me an email at phpagencysa@gmail.com, and I would love to get this recording to you. That way you can send it out to your family and friends and help educate them as well. But let's go ahead and get into this. Now, let me go ahead and share my screen. If you have any questions during the process, write those questions down, and you can go ahead and shoot me a text message or email or comment on the video that you're currently watching. So let's get to it. Can everybody see this? Awesome, awesome, awesome. So the other day I was doing a review, and I was explaining why the Great Recession 2.0 is about to hit us. And although I didn't have my slides to actually share, I didn't have the capability to actually share. So I was just talking about it. So people couldn't visualize what I was actually talking about. But today I have the slides, and I'm going to show you exactly why I personally feel the recession is going to hit within the next 18 to 24 months. And we're looking at upwards of a 70% plus drop, market correction, my friends. And there's a great reason why we are looking at this. So the first thing I want you to do is I want you to imagine, close your eyes for a second, imagine a little lamb, all right? The lamb, he's happy, he's innocent, he's always got food to eat, he always has shelter to keep him out of harsh water, and he doesn't have to worry about the predators, my friends. His leaders trusted him, they shared him once a year, but overall he's extremely comfortable. You know, he built that trust with his what do you call them, shepherds. Okay, so when this innocent lamb, when his herd, they're all invited by those that they trust, that's been taking care of them, for trust to take a walk, and he was invited to take a walk with his herd. And he simply followed the crowd. He didn't suspect anything was coming. He was like, hey, this is just another day. But within a few seconds, unsuspectingly, this happy little lamb, my friends, he's going to be slaughtered. And he's choosing to follow his friends because that's all he knows. The shepherds built trust up with that lamb, and that lamb trusts them now. Does that sound relevant to us? Does that sound like that's somebody you know? Maybe the U.S. government, maybe Wall Street, maybe your banker. They've been building trust up in us over the past 10 years. It's an unpleasant thought, but I'm telling you this to make a great point, my friends. You see, we're fast approaching a dangerous crossroad here in America. And frankly, every dollar that you work for, so hard to earn, my friends, every penny that you've earned, that you've invested, it's going to be at stake. And I want you to understand that, you know, I know this sounds extreme. And after all, the last 10 years, your portfolio has likely done real well since 2008. The market is at the highest that it's ever been. And go ahead and look at this first picture that I'm going to show you. If you're looking at this picture right here, you're likely to see that we are upwards of this is just from 1990 to 2017. You're likely to see that the market keeps going up. My friends, and this is over what almost a 20-year period, 30-year period, and it keeps going up. And people are asking, when is the market going to crash? See, as we were embarking upon 2001, nobody suspected that the market was going to crash. That was the best times between 1970 to 1999. That was like the best times for people to actually invest, to grow their money. This is when a lot of baby boomers created their wealth, saving up for retirement. And I'm going to get to that point in a minute. But remember that, like that little lamb, they built trust. But here we are. Now, we know there's been 35 great recessions since 1929, since the Great Depression, my friends, when the market dropped by 90%. People lost 90% of their wealth. They lost trust during that time. And it wasn't until the 70s when they started building trust back up. There's been 35 recessions since 1929. They've been averaging between 7 and 8 years each recession. My friends, it's been 10 years since the last recession. Remember, we live in a cyclic world, which means everything runs in cycles. Now, how stock traders trade, they trade based off of trends from the past history. That's why it's called a trend. And the past history will tell the future. My friends, I know you're stockbrokers. Everything, you're not questioning the market. If your money is in the market, you're seeing the high returns. You're not questioning anything. Your stockbrokers, sure, of course, they take little small annual fees, but who cares when the stock's going up 10, 15, and 20% per year? I just have to ask, have you become happy and comfortable? Just like that little lamb that I talked about earlier? If so, then the financial path that you're on right now is about to end, just like that little lamb. It's going to end in slaughter when the Great Recession 2.0 hits. Because as you will see in this presentation, the market was supposed to pull back in 2014. The market was supposed to pull back in 2014, but it just didn't. Give me 1 second. But it didn't, as you see here. Just like it did in 2008 or 2000 and 2008. Every 7 to 8 years, you're having this trend. Oh, somebody had to mute somebody. So you're having this trend, but it didn't. It just kept going up and up and up. And over the past couple of weeks, you've been seeing a lot of things in the market. We call them bloody days, when everything is red. There's a reason why, my friends. It's not just because it's a small market correction. It's because it is preparing for the worst. And now it is time for you to prepare for the worst. As you see, the reason why I kept going up and up and up is because the stock market, there's been $5.1 trillion since 2014 invested into the stock market. My friends, $5.1 trillion. Okay, think about that. And while Washington and Wall Street, they're crediting right now a strong U.S. economy for the rise, the real fuel behind this massive bubble is tied to a deep, dark, I would call it a secret. All right, that's exactly what it is. It's a secret because nobody's talking about it. The secret that several experts, they call it a Ponzi scheme. It was actually banned in 1934 when Roosevelt was president. He actually banned it, and it became legal again back in 2003. And this is when everything started happening. I'm just saying, friends, it's time to prepare. Please be taking notes right now, because I want you to take these notes, gather and formulate your own opinion, and then disperse it out to your friends and family to help them prepare. we have to be create a ripple effect so we can protect ourselves and the people we care about the most. Because Wall Street's not going to protect us, the U.S. government's not going to protect us, my friends. And this right here is the whistle is blowing, per se. The whistle is blowing on this deep, dark secret, my friends. I mean, go ahead and look at this next slide. And these are charts that I pulled. These are the stock buyers. Okay, so this blue line right here is going to represent the U.S. investors. Please pay attention to the actual chart. So the blue is the stock buyers. All right, you can see that financial institutions are actually selling stocks, and international investors are on the downward trend as well. So we move it over here. Like this is vital for us to understand. Yet the market keeps going up. Even though the U.S. investors are buying and selling really low, international investors and financial institutions are on the low. My friends, where's the $5.1 trillion coming from? You know, there's another buyer in play, and that's that exclusive group that was banned back in 1934. And just think about it, $5.1 trillion. People do not understand this. People are not talking about this. Maybe either they don't know about it, or it's going to hurt their commissions if they actually tell their clients this. But just to put it in more perspective, that's 3 times more than the current USD in circulation. 3 times more. There's only 1.63 trillion in USD in circulation, but there's $5.1 trillion circulating in the stock market. Does this make any sense? The numbers just don't add up. But no wonder that the stocks keep ballooning up, my friends. Here's the thing. This exclusive group of buyers is the same group that was banned, like I said, due to the 1929 market crash. And we remember 90% of everybody's stocks or investments were lost. And this is due to a little known loophole. And you can Google and fact check everything that I'm talking about right now. This is known as Rule 10B-18. And all of that has changed now that it is legal again. And we have the SEC. They are trying to fight to get it banned once again, but right now it's still legal, and they're definitely taking advantage of it. So we see a lot of companies selling last week alone, there was billions sold out of the stock market. That's why we had some bloody days. But this regulation has been banned, and this group is quietly erasing, what they once known as profit. I'm telling you guys, this is stuff that they're not telling us. And as we see that market pull back in 2000, 2008, but it never pulled back in 2014 when it was supposed to. Remember, we're trends. We're a cyclic world. Everything's going to happen in cycles. It just keeps going up, $5.1 trillion. And I mean, it's just a tragedy to know that what's about to hit us, and so many are unprepared. And this is why this message is so urgent, my friends. The stock market bubble is about to pop. I give it another 18 to 24 months. I do think we still have another 18 to 24 months. So this is why right now is critical in your positioning. Okay. So this is going to be a collapse unlike anybody's ever seen before. And this is just based off the research that I've done. Now, all the top economists and financial experts in the United States, they're seeing the exact same things that I'm actually telling you about right now. So this crash is going to be of proportion. It's going to shake our entire economy. So yeah, the economy looks strong right now. The employment rates are at the unemployment rates are at the lowest it's ever been. But my friends, it's coming. Real estate's going to plummet by over 50%, just like it did in 2000, 2008. And I don't know about you. Maybe you know someone, but I know in 2007, I purchased a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo in Chicago, Illinois for roughly about $315,000, $320,000, not knowing that the market was going to crash, not knowing that we were going to enter the Great Recession. But 2008, my home value for that same condo, I paid $315,000 for. It was worth $123,000. I lost more than half of the value. So once again, I learned from my mistakes. Now I can learn from my mistakes, and other people can learn from my mistakes. So we understand there's two different ways to learn. You can learn from your own mistakes, or you can learn from someone else's mistakes. So if you were fortunate enough not to lose anything back in 2008 or 2000, make sure you utilize someone else's mistakes to position yourself so you don't enter that same loss. But real estate, it's going to plummet by more than 50%. The dollar is going to crash. It's going to cut your savings in half, my friends. I'm telling you, this is something to be prepared for. Unemployment rate is going to triple, and if you remember back in 2008, there was 8.8 million jobs that were lost. 8.8 million jobs that were lost. Think about that. If you lost your job today, how much money do you have to live off of? How many months do you have to live off of? 2, 5, 8, 12? How many? Mark my words, this collapse is going to send people from Starbucks line to the bread lines. And seniors from the lush retirement communities, they're going to be in government assisted nursing homes. Nothing is going to stop what is inevitable, my friends. The wheels have already been set in motion. It's already begun. Today, I'm showing you evidence. The charts, the data feeds, the confidential intel and statistics, that until now have been intentionally kept out of your hands. But through the research, I had an epiphany one day, and me and my wife, we were having a conversation, and she was asking me about something. And I said, you know what, honey, I'm going to do what I do best. I'm going to go and analyze the data that I find. So I'm not going to rely on someone else to provide me with the data. So everything is public records. So I went, started looking at Wall Street, started looking at banking, financial institutions, what companies took a bailout under the TARP. So I started doing the research, and lo and behold, one thing led me to another. And this is the data that I gathered. I started looking at 3 different indicators, and the indicators that I looked at, it says that there could be a crash any day now. I still give it 18 to 24 months because I think the people that invested the $5.1 trillion into the market, I think that they're greedy. They're greedy and they want more. So they're gonna feed off of us until they have all they want, and then they're just gonna do a major dump. But I want you not to listen to me. I want you to listen to the research that I've done and formulate your own opinion. Okay. I just don't want you to be happy and comfortable knowing that something is looming. All right. I know what I'm saying is extreme, perhaps laughable. You can laugh. I'm sure you'll share it with your buddies. They'll probably laugh at you as well. But remember, there was a lot of people laughing in 2007 and 2008 up until the market crashed. And then they were struck. But I want you to know that people laughed at my team when I predicted this. I want you to know that I was able to capitalize and position myself well right now. So when that next recession hits, I'm going to be able to swoop in, and that's when I'm going to make the wealth. Remember Grant Cardone, he says more people become wealthy in down markets because they position themselves well beforehand. My friends, I have people buying homes right now. Some of my friends and family, they're purchasing real estate. One thing I know about investing is you buy low and you sell high. You don't buy stuff when it's at the top of the market. And for all you real estate agents watching, I understand you're making a great living right now. You're making a great commission. But if you've been in real estate for more than 10 years, you know what happened during 2008. Many real estate agents were living paycheck to paycheck. I have several family members who are real estate agents, who are real estate investors. And my friends, they took a hit. Some sleeping out of cars. It's going to happen again. How are you preparing yourself? Do you know a lot of people, they don't challenge the status quo enough. They don't ask enough questions. They don't ask enough questions. And that's what we have to do. Let me get to the right slide, guys. The US dollar is going to drop. And starting in 2007, everybody was warned that The economic collapse was brewing. They even made a movie off of it. What was the movie? The Big Short. If you haven't seen the movie The Big Short, it'll give you a brief recollection of what and why 2007 happened. It's because they were kind of repackaging bonds. They were repackaging them and just selling them off to other people, to other financial institutions. It was just ridiculous. But I want you to understand that what we have explained during this financial crisis is people are taking loans out. All right. People are taking loans out and they don't even understand the interest rates. It's an all-time interest rate, interest level, as you see over the past several weeks and the past month or two. Federal interest rates have been hiking, right? How many people have seen that? Went from like 3%. Now we're currently at what, 4.5, 5.5%. The bull market is going to continue. The bull market is going to continue right now. Many of the experts say the bull market is going to continue. But remember, we can't be that lamb. So I want you to take a look. And I want you to see that every time the market breached this top line, roughly around 15,000 points, every time it receded that line, and it passed that line in 2014, the market did not retrace. The market did not correct. But $5.1 trillion in funny money, I call it funny money, it's been infused by the secretive group. And once I say this group's name, you're going to understand everything. And then you're going to say, that's it. But once all of that comes to an end, I'm telling you, it's going to scare a lot of people. A lot of people are going to lose all of their money. What's one thing they teach us? They teach us what? Go to school, get good grades, get a job. That job says, hey, we're going to help you save for retirement. Put all your money in a 401k plan. Hence, that Wall Street created and that the government owns. Does that make sense, my friends? It's tax deferred, so you're going to save $250 now. Average is about $250. You're going to save that right now, but we're going to raise the interest rates when we need the money years later, and that's when we're going to tax you. Oh, and if you want to access your money in the next 25, 30 years that we're going to control it, you're going to be heavily penalized. My friends, these qualified plans are killing us, but we don't challenge the status quo. We only do what we're taught. And my friends, that's no way. We have to challenge the status quo. My friends, there's nothing Wall Street's going to be able to do. Washington or the federal government will be able to do to stop it. They've already lowered interest rates to a historic low like we've seen before. They've already run up the debt to historic highs. I think we're currently, $21 trillion. And they've already passed the historic tax cuts. They're out of ammunition. Mark my words, all hell, excuse my language, will break loose. It won't be a 50% crash like it was in 2000, 2008. It's going to be 70% plus crash. This same group of buyers, although different faces, it's the same group of buyers, is what caused the crash in 1929. They're back at it. My friends, through that rule that I told you about, go look it up. They already known that the market's overheated. They're feeding off of us. They're like leeches right now. Okay? I know what you're thinking right now. You're thinking, this guy is crazy. All right? I'm just a father of 7 kids. I'm a husband of a loving wife. And I'm trying to protect my family and everything that I work for, my empire. And I'm trying to help you gather the information to help protect your family and your empire, everything that you worked hard for. So Wall Street and the government can't just take it from us. My friends, we have to stand up. We have to lock our arms together. All right. This chart right here, it shows that the market was supposed to pull back in 2014, just like it did in 2000, 2008. And it's not just this chart or this trend line, but there's several other proven indicators that are screaming that the market is overdue for a massive correction. And that's what I want to go over tonight. That's what I really want to touch on tonight. And it's going to be the very first one is the PE ratios. Who knows what a PE ratio is? Think to yourself, this is the ratio that measures the price of stock versus how long it will take for that stock to actually be worth that price. In a healthy, normal stock market, the PE ratio is about 16. All right. That means that it will take 16 years for a stock's earnings to equal its current price. Right now, the average stock has roared up to the PE ratio of 31. That's almost twice as high as the normal ratio. Almost twice as high as the normal ratio. If we look at this chart right here, there's only been several times where we've seen levels above 25. That was 1929, 1999, 2007, and now. And each time that it happens, stocks drop by 90%, 50%, 58%. What's it going to drop to next time? And then we have now, my friends. We're above that 25 mark. Think about it. Remember, history always repeats itself. Maybe different faces, but it's still the same old concept. And again, the market was supposed to pull back here in 1929, my friends. Think about it. Numbers do not lie. People can lie, organizations can lie, but numbers never lie. All right. So Wall Street is backing this 5.1 trillion secret, and they artificially are creating the biggest bubble unlike any country has ever seen before. To get it back to where it should be, the PE ratio, it proves that the stock market would have dropped at least 50% back in 2014. Think about that. In 2014, it would have dropped 50% just based off the numbers. And the next indicator I'm going to show you is called the Buffett indicator. Many of you may be familiar with this, maybe you're not, but the Buffett says that probably the best single measure of where valuations stand at any given moment. Okay. So the Buffett indicator compares the total market value of stocks to our gross domestic product, which is what you may hear in the news all the time, the GDP. Basically, when the line is over 100%, that means that stocks are valued at more than the GDP, and that means stocks need to come back down. All right. So if we look at it, this has only happened 3 times in our history. 1999, when stocks crashed by 50%, 2007, when stocks crashed by 58%, and then now. We're currently at 136%. Remember, anything over 100%, it means that it needs to come back down. And yeah, it's just, like I said, proof is in the pudding, my friends. All right. So it's very scary because hence, what few know that is Buffett, the world's greatest investor. Not sure if you heard in the news over the past several months, but he pulled out $116 billion and he allocated that to cash and cash equivalents. And he hinted that it could soar up to $150 billion in the months ahead. Okay. He's one of the few that knows about this coming downturn and its massive implications. I take a lot of my trainings and stuff from Warren Buffett. I've been following him for numerous years now. The guy is an investment genius, although there are several other ones that I actually follow as well. But again, the market was supposed to correct itself back in 2014, and it didn't. So we have to ask ourselves, where are we at? And my friends, it's very scary out there. It's very, very scary. And if we look at this next one, and that's going to be the margin indicator, and it shows that things are dangerously overdue for correction. And that's the margin debt indicator. This actually measures the amount of money being borrowed to invest. Okay, so please take note of this. The red line right here is the margin debt growth. The blue line is the stock market growth. And as you can see, the first 2 times that the margin debt breached 150%, meaning the margin is growing faster than the stock market. There was a correction. This happened in 2000 and 2007. And each time this happened, it led to a 50% collapse. Think about that. Each time that it happened, it led to a 50% collapse. But when it reached 150% in 2014, the stock market kept going up. We are now at the highest level of margin debt in history. 300%, my friends. 300%. This is astronomical. Again, the market was supposed to correct itself, but it didn't. And once again, it all ties back to this 5.1 trillion that has been quietly pumped into stocks. There's another reason margin debt matters, my friends. Since it's clear that the stock market is going up because so many people are gambling with margin, with debt, when it starts to pull back, the collapse is going to be fast. It's going to be extremely fast. As stocks go down, investors will get margin calls and they'll be forced to sell their positions immediately, which will accelerate the market sell-off. Again, this bull market continues to rise. It was supposed to correct itself in 2014, but it didn't. The PE ratio is proof of that. So is the Buffett indicator. So is the margin debt indicator. There are dozens of other indicators as well. For instance, the velocity of money and the volatility index. They're currently all near all-time lows. Consumer confidence is nearing record highs now. Junk bond yields are rising. All of these indicators are screaming that stocks are in a bubble and they're going to crash any day now, is what the indicators are screaming. Yet these stocks continue to rise and no one is questioning it. Maybe no one's doing the research like I have tonight, which is why most people aren't too concerned about it. Their portfolios keep going up with the market. Financial advisors, they're making a nice commission from all the stocks going up. Nobody's complaining. Everybody's happy. Everybody's comfortable. Like that little lamb that's currently being led to the slaughterhouse, thinking he's just out for a daily routine walk. They're happy. They're comfortable. They're innocent. By the time they realize what's happening, my friends, it's going to be too late. Their portfolios are going to be slaughtered. They don't know what's really happening. While the U.S. institutional and international investors have been selling stocks, there is one group that has been buying, though. And my friends, this is where it starts to get ugly. It's called stock buybacks. How many of you know about stock buybacks? This is when a company buys its own stocks. This is when a company buys its own stocks. This is one of the dirtiest Wall Street practices. It's called, you might know it as insider trading. And one of the greatest examples of insider trading was companies buying their own shares, which is stock buybacks. This created in 2007 a perpetual bubble, created in 1927, 1928, which led to 1929 crash. Stock buybacks, insider trading. A company would buy its own shares. Its stock's price would rise due to the fake demand. The CEOs would announce great earnings, and then they would do it all over again. Once again, it's a cycle. So rather than growing earnings by creating better products, adding more services, or conducting research and development, essentially investing in the future, many of America's biggest companies were actually manipulating earnings and share prices by creating artificial demand for their own stock. It's a vicious cycle, my friends. It's financial engineering at its finest. Hence, as I mentioned before, this is why the SEC formed in 1934, and Joseph Kennedy, he deemed stock buybacks, this type of manipulation, to be illegal. They wanted to encourage companies to invest in real growth and research and development, new products, better service, and it actually worked. Companies grew shareholder values the right way. Unfortunately for you, for me, and every other investor out there, stock buybacks are now legal, thanks to Rule 10b-18. Just go ahead and put that in your Google browser, Rule 10b-18, and go ahead and read about it. Companies are able to buy their stocks. However, Rule 10b-18 says that they're limited to how much millions they can buy per day. So they put a little limitation. So they can't buy billions per day. They're only limited to a certain number per day, but they can still buy them back. See, the SEC even on record saying that they do not monitor such stocks buybacks activity to prevent this market manipulation anymore. So as it was the wild, wild west, and back in the 1920s, it's the wild, wild west all over again. In 2008, America's largest companies, and since 2008, America's largest companies, they have been purchasing a mind-boggling of $5.1 trillion of their own shares. As you can see, they are the only ones who really care. This is some of the the companies that recently purchased some of their own stocks. You see Cisco Systems, 25 billion, Lowe's, Wells Fargo, 350 million, Kellogg. The list goes on and on and on. There was over 100 companies, so I just took a snapshot of it, a little screenshot of the companies. You can go and research. All of this is public data, okay? IBM, 1.37 billion, Apple, 1.4 billion, and we're seeing these companies hit $1 trillion. You have Amazon just hit $1 trillion. You have Apple just hit $1 trillion. And as soon as I found out this information, I was like, did they really hit $1 trillion, or is it because of the stock buybacks? And we know what CEOs get paid based off of what? How well the stocks perform. So they're getting a nice fat paycheck, okay? It's no wonder the stock market keeps going up, my friends. That's 10 times more than the U.S. spends on its military, 70 times more than the U.S. spends on its entire education system, and 200 times more than it spends on transportation. This is what a bubble is. This is the bubble of all bubbles, and it's going to burst real soon. Like I said, I believe it's going to be 18 to 24 months before we actually see a decline in the market to drastic measures. We might see small corrections between now and then, but once it takes the major correction, that's when all hell's going to break loose, my friends. So now is the time you need to start positioning yourself. And here's what's really scary. Over the past decade, these CEOs used up 94% of their profits to purchase these shares. 94% of their profits to purchase these shares. So they're not using this money to invest in research and development. They're not using it to hire new people. They're not using it to update the equipment. They're using it to manipulate the price of their stocks. As Forbes said, it's a form of stock market manipulation. It's not real growth, but it gets worse, my friends. Since many of these companies don't have profits, they're actually borrowing money to buy back their shares. Why do you think the margin debt is really high? As you can see, corporate debt is at one of the highest levels that it's ever been. How many people got bailouts? How many companies got bailouts back in 2008? How many financial institutions got bailouts back in 2008? Hundreds. I was looking at the list 2 days ago because I was doing some research on I wanted to make sure something that I was putting out was actually correct and wasn't just my opinion, and I verified it. Hundreds of financial institutions. Did you know all that money is not paid back yet? It's been 10 years and all the money is not paid back yet, my friends. This is scary. Like I said, I'm a family man. I have a family. I work hard. I know you are too. You're trying to build everything you can by using all the strategies and techniques and financial advice to build your empire for your family. But my friends, it's scary what's happening. So I say that to say this. All the debt that they owe, they're not going to be able to repay it. They're going to be forced to declare bankruptcy. Think about that. First, the market's going to drop by 10%. Then it's going to drop by 15%, then 20%. After that, things are going to start to speed up. Expect the Dow to drop 500 points, 1,000 points, even 2,500 points day after day. We saw it last week drop what? 831 points one day. Next day, what? 500, 550 points. This Monday and Tuesday, we had a small kind of, it's teasing us with a comeback, which I hope it does come back because I want people to have time to prepare. I hope it does come back. Okay. But that was just an example of what's to come. Okay. To be frank with you, a 70% stock market crash is actually a conservative estimate. 1929, the market crashed by 90%. That would leave the Dow roughly at a mere 2,500. And just like in 1929, real estate will plummet again by 50%. So if you just bought a house, do what you can to start stacking cash now so you can protect your investment. That way it'll still be an asset for you. The dollar is going to crash, slashing your savings in half. I know you're hearing terrible things about the US dollar right now, but keep hope. Keep hope and do what you can do and provide financial education to people. The unemployment rate's at an all-time low right now. It's going to rise. It's going to triple. Remember, 2008, there was 8.8 million people unemployed, or 8.8 million jobs lost during that time. You want to act fast. The word is going to be leaking out. I guarantee in the next several months, more people are going to be talking about the same thing I'm talking about right now. My friends, now is your time to go ahead and start positioning yourself. Now,